All right. So, we're going to go start with the heart of the reading here. Winter and the Blasted Oak. And, this winter card shows the wolf here. And, it talks about how wolves are one of the few animals out in the wilderness that stay active during the winter, right? And there's this, I guess, this notion that that's the case for you as well, right? I think we've been in hibernation, right? We're ready. We're ready to take action. And, with this blasted oak here, right, we see this lightning bolt coming, and, this tower moment is getting the hanged man out of the tree, right? So whether this is, whatever's been keeping you tied up, and this could very well be, right, Jupiter and Saturn moving out of your sign. Now we just have Pluto there. So there is still some transformation, right? But it's not quite as intense. And I feel like, we're not going to feel as strung up and held back. This is also when I see the lightning strike, I think of Uranus, right? I don't think it's making any aspects with any of those other planets other than conjuncting Black Moon Lilith at the same time. But for some of us, especially if this is at, I think Black Moon Lilith is at 6 degrees of Taurus. Uranus is at 7 degrees of Taurus. So you might have that in your chart, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. But yeah, and I see, we have the unseen here. Yeah. And with this Venom card, the shadow is pointing towards the past. Right. I feel like this is like getting rid of those things, during this time, we're getting rid of all those things that are venomous in our life, right? That we're facing those shadows, right? We're embracing this, and the Capricorn energy, right? The Capricorn energy is sexual in nature, right? With the devil, which is very sensual, and, you're really embracing those things. The wolf mates for life, right? And I do sense this, with this Lord energy at the bottom, the green woman or the empress here, the she-wolf, the wolf, right? There's the wolf and the she-wolf showing up here. And yes, this is that alignment within yourself, right? But also the alignment with the other, right? And that's why I think this destroyer energy is here as well, right? And even showed up as a wolf. Amazing, right? If you're not taking care of it, right? If there's anything that you're not specifically moving out of your life, Spirit will help you with that, right? And those could be just those trigger moments that kind of show you what needs to come up for healing as well, right? Destroying, and I want to go here first to the subconscious, because I think this is destroying that past karma, right? Burning up past karma. And we see the butterfly here. I feel like in our sleep this is happening. We're probably having dreams of past lives. We could be having, some kind of troublesome dreams too, which I don't necessarily see here, but it's just kind of, like with this destroyer energy, it kind of comes with the territory. I don't think there'll be that many. I don't think it's going to be like anything that's really distressing. Just be aware, because Neptune, what it's doing during this time period can bring up some, can cause us to kind of question our purpose, question, make us insecure, all of that. So yeah, I'm looking at these 4 corners here. And that Grand Cross, which isn't a true Grand Cross, but there's a Grand Cross happening at the time of this, and it includes Neptune, it includes the North and the South Node, and it includes Vesta and Virgo, which is where that insecurity. And we're going to be a little bit too focused in on the details. So just be aware of that, right? But, you know, him showing up here, I'm really getting, like, I started thinking about the movie The Right Stuff, and there is a new series on Disney, which I haven't watched myself. I just know that it's there, but it's about one of the first missions to the moon and such. And I don't know how it happened that some of those astronauts visited one of these Aboriginal tribes in Australia, and they were like, yeah, we've been out in outer space. Yeah, we, you know, their elder had been, and there was a problem with the space capsule. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they're talking about it. And in the movie, they show this Aboriginal tribe, like, doing, because they were going to, you know, help him, right? That was part of their talk with the astronaut. And I don't know if the elder got some vision that he needed help, but they start doing this, I guess some kind of tribal dance, a ritual, and they have this bonfire going, and they're blowing up the fire, and these sparks are flying up and then up in space. You know, in the movie they show it happening, you know, in real time, right? These are happening at the same time. I don't know that would be the case, but this is true fact that he was seeing these, like, sparks, and he kept on saying it's like a bunch of lightning bugs, and it continued for an hour or so, right? It wasn't just a few seconds, a few minutes. It was quite a length of time. And they still don't know what it was. But I just, you know, I feel like this help is being given to you. And I think it's going to show up in magical ways in your reality. So stay open and watch for those kind of, like, small miracles, right? But if you do meditation, you're connecting. There's healing. There's healing done to the DNA, right? And then, this is so beautiful. I just love to see you wearing this energy, right? The destroyer, the wolf, the primal aspect of yourself, right? That Black Moon Lilith, the shadow feminine, completely embracing it. And this just makes you more divine, right? With this green woman here, right? We see this, like, image here, which, once again, you know, it's like just being completely open with that sexuality, that part of you. And there's this kind of, you know, the mystic was down here in the underneath this Eros, right? The mystic. So it's like this, you're making this potion. Yeah, I really get, like, some witchy vibes here, some, you know, and even if you're not, you know, just, you don't have to be to have that kind of earthy, sensual, like, mixing a concoction. You know, this is very creative juices here, right? And it's very white. It's very clear. So it's like we're throwing stuff in there. It's almost like this clean slate. What do we want to add? What do we want to create here? And I feel like this alchemy is going on, right? With this DNA, this healing that's going on in the subconscious, and your conscious, like creative, feminine, even masculine here, right? You're really aligning. Beautiful. Okay. So, I don't feel like I need to go into this too much. I think that we would all agree we have felt like we've had to endure quite a bit, right? But, this rock that's kind of, it's kind of reaching out like it's covering him. And then we see this Uranian energy coming through here, right? This flash that's finally reaching us here. But you've been sheltered this whole time. All of this has been for a reason, right? So, we have this happiness here in the air element. I think with this Six of Stones here, I really feel like you're kind of thinking about, once again, it's this creative kind of energy. What is your happiness, right? What do you see as those things that make you happy, truly happy, right? What completes you? What will complete you? And I think this is, it's a lot of emotion. It says happiness here, but this can be, it's like those extremes. I keep saying it's just going to be high highs and low lows, right? And even this Six of Stones, it's the kind of ebb and flow of those emotions. So whatever we feel, it's going to be intense, right? Well, and I say feel, and over here is the water element. But I think, what we think about right now is producing emotions. And here in the earth element, this Six of Stones, right? It's this give and take. And I think there is this looking at our relationships, right? This is what's going on in your material world. And even your projects and what have you, right? What are you giving? What are you taking back? And then in this particular card, we see, right, they haven't taken care of these beehives. They've got the broken right? They have the tools, or they had the tools, but they didn't take care of it properly, right? So it's kind of like looking at, what hasn't been cared for, right? If it's not producing, are there things that you could do to bring it back to life? And is this something that just needs to be abandoned, right? Like, for some reason, I'm thinking about some of those relationships that, right, you stay in it because you think you're doing a favor to that other person. But if hearts are not really in it, are you really doing a favor to that other person? And that may or may not apply to you, take what resonates. But for some reason that was coming through. But yeah. And I think there is, this promise that what you've given, right, will be returned. Or that it is. For some of you, right? Some of us were still, they are standing there waiting. And I think I just thought about like our government right now. Right? There is a dawning of a new day there. So we'll see what happens. But Here in the fire element, we have the stag. And once again, I'm getting these kind of shaman-like vibes, right? It's like a drum, you know, and I'm hearing the beat of a drum. And I'm feeling like, you know, this is you being on the right path. And even this card talks, you know, it's like justice. And it's about doing the right thing, but it also talks about how, you know, what we consider to be what's right and just does change over time, right? And looking at those things that need to change. And, you know, I get drawn back to the she-wolf here, right? And I feel like, and of course, the karma aspect. And I think that this is you standing strong in that very earthy, very sensual, very, I'm thinking care newness, you know, pan kind of energy, and knowing that that is right and true. There's this spiritual warrior kind of aspect to it. And then in the water element, we have 9 of Vessels, generosity. And it's across the way from this exploitation. So I feel like you know, and this, of course, is all in the midst of all of this, right? Where there's this feeling of, you know, that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, you're doing the right thing, right? And this is causing this beautiful alignment, this beautiful flow. And you're able to be more generous because of that, right? Because the 9 of Vessels can be about the self, you know, and this filling up of your own, right? We see this, pot, this, what is it called? Cauldron. Yes, the cauldron. And you're filling it up, and it causes you to be able to be more generous. And that is because you are getting rid of those people around you that are stripping you of your energy. Right? And it just gets filled up over and over and over. Yeah, this second week here, I see you taking some action, right? Because this is the action is right there, just and right action. And I feel like this is really a result of this kind of evaluation and aha moments. And then we have, you know, the 7 of Stones, healing, and in the future. And, you know, this is the green woman again. We see her represented here. And I feel like this is healing on a lot of, you know, I feel like this is harvest, right? And healing in the fact that you're starting to get some return, right? You're starting to see the fruits of your labor in many different aspects, right? And the healing on the spiritual level, you know, this figure here is still lying down, and I'm thinking of this emperor, you know, energy here. And they even kind of look a little alike, don't they? A little bit. But, you know, that emperor is still kind of healing. And I really feel like that's kind of the internal emperor. Well, you know, in all of us, that feminine is really strong and vibrant, and she's helping to heal the emperor, the wounded warrior, right? Where we've been on this road for so long. I feel like we're getting a reprieve. We're getting a time to see the fruits of our labor and sit back a little bit, not have to work so hard.